Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to my quick video on Plants vs. Zombies 3. Oh boy. Here we go. You ever, like, look at a game and think, wow, that looks terrible, I don't want to play that. And then you play it and it's like, oh my god, that's even worse than I thought. Like, I already went in with low expectations and I left with even lower ones. Plants vs. Zombies 3 came out on Android and iOS fairly recently. I think it was in a beta state, and I think it's in its full release stage now, maybe on certain devices. I have a Razer phone, and I couldn't even get this one. I'm running BlueStacks right now. It's in a portrait mode. It's playable in portrait mode, unlike the previous games, which were, you know, the widescreen, the landscape mode. I've seen a lot of games do this recently. I guess it's because it's more convenient to hold your phone like that. So you can, I don't know, do it one-handed. You know, because they don't want to make the game complicated or interesting or have any form of strategy to it. No, you know, it should be playable with one hand. Which can be fine. There are some games that work fairly well like that, but, I don't know, I don't feel like you should do it for a game like this. Case in point, look how limited this is. So, Plants vs. Zombies is a game that I have a big history with. I uploaded a piece of test footage on my channel that ended up getting 25 million views, like over a decade ago. It was the Versus mode. Yes, back then, you had a local Versus mode on the 360 console versions. Yes, Plants vs. Zombies not only came out on mobile devices, but it also came out on console. In fact, the console version was like this definitive edition, because the game was so much fun that people were willing to pay 15 bucks to get a console version of it. And the console version had tons of extra features that the mobile version didn't have. The PC version didn't even have. It was pretty cool. We all know the story, or most of us do. EA acquires PopCap, the company behind the franchise. They basically get rid of the main creator, or the CEO, I believe. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was the CEO. They decide, hey, we're going to release Plants vs. Zombies 2, which was actually not too bad of a game. And then, it was riddled with ads, so we'll talk about that in a second. And then, God, you had Garden Warfare, which was actually a pretty good use of the license, honestly. It was a really fun third-person shooter. I mean, you'd think a tower defense game is a third-person shooter. That sounds stupid, but it was actually a lot of fun. The first game was really cool. The second game had, they were both pretty cool games for what they were. First one was more of like a budget multiplayer, but made up for it with lots of content. And then the second game had like all kinds of heroes and, you know, special powers that you can get. The servers have been, well, they've been kind of dead since, unfortunately. Then they released Battle for Neighborville, which was just basically a Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 2.5, I call it, just to revive the player base. Haven't really checked on it in a while. And then now you have this, Plants vs. Zombies 3. I didn't really finish 2. I mean, the game was riddled with performance issues because of all the ads they just stuffed into the game. It was ridiculous. But I will say that it felt like an actual sequel. Now, I can't really talk too much about the microtransactions because I haven't gotten far because I just simply don't want to play this game. But you can upgrade individual plants a la card system. There was also that other card game that was actually decent, Plants vs. Zombies Heroes, which never came to PC either. But, you know, my point is here is just that they've made microtransaction games before, and they were actually pretty interesting and fun. PvZ2 felt like a genuine sequel. You had all these new plant types, you had all these new locations, just a ton of new stuff added to it. And it wasn't like as tight as like the linear first game, but it had a bunch of like cool features. Like, you know, it still had the level variety from the first one. I just don't think it was as focused, and of course it was riddled with ads that ruined the performance. This game, though, it decided, well, we're going to completely change the formula and really just dumb it down to fit portrait mode, or whatever they're doing here. And there's just tons of menus and all kinds of crap. It looks like you just slowly unlock everything over time. I mean, there's new types here, I think. It's just... Again, I haven't played that much of it. I'm doing this because of a request, mainly. And I gotta say, it's just... Like, the art style, for example, is hideous. Just, there's so many things I could point out that's wrong with the game. Art style is kind of hideous. I mean, the animations aren't too bad, but the art style is just... I just do not like the CG. And the other thing is that the changes to the core gameplay, which could actually really damage it, and make it just a real microtransaction-riddled mess. Because, you know, EA's really famous for that, and especially on mobile. Like, everyone thinks, like, oh, man, microtransactions in AAA games, it's so bad. Oh, my God. EA on mobile games is, like, 30 times as bad. See Dungeon Keeper. Mobile. But anyway. So, you don't plant flowers anymore. You just wait for this little box to go up. And that means they can artificially fix how much flower power to create more plants that you actually get. And of course, I know for a fact they're not going to be fair with it. They're just not. Why would they take that away from you in the first place? Oh, to streamline it? Well, look at this. You only get, like, I think, what, in the original game you had maybe a few more slots, but you had a bigger selection even in 2 at the start. And it's constantly interrupted, like, these stages are just so short, or... I don't know what it is. I mean, it's on mobile. If you're... I mean, phone batteries are pretty good now. If you want to just take a break, you could just, I don't know, minimize the game? I mean, it's really, really bizarre. I just don't know what it really brings to the table at a first glance. And, like, for a mobile game, that's kind of like a killer for me, because it's like, I should immediately know what the intentions are and everything, you know, what it's doing up front. PvZ 2 was very upfront. It's like, this game is riddled with microtransactions, but if you're good enough at it, it could be fairly balanced, at least for, like, the story campaign for the first, you know, 2-3 hours. But this game, like, it's just so bland. There's just so much taken away from the player that I just don't care about it. And, you know, I normally give, you know, 2-3 hours to a game, but I'm just playing this and I'm like, I don't want to play this. I don't know. Let's go to the menu really quick. You know, audio options. Again, we're playing on BlueStacks, so there might be some performance issues that you might see. When I loaded when I side-loaded it on Android, it seemed to have been fine. Yeah, there's timers in here. That's great. And then I also played Heroes, which was a really good card game, but you know, it was microtransaction heavy with the whole upgrading cards, which this game has. Ah, Jesus, sorry about that. It's like you got all this weird stuff and like things that look like slot machines. It's just bizarro. But oh, we can't even get back to the main menu, can we? Nope, we can't. We have to. We're actually stuck in on this. Yeah. I've also gotten issues, like, even when I try to sideload it on Android, like, just Wi-Fi, it's just like, oh, we can't connect, but apparently we still can. Would you like to download anyway? It feels kind of rushed. And just, like, the cutscenes just look very basic. Like, very basic CGI. Like, everything just feels like a real cash grab here. Like, they dumbed it down not only to, you know, force in more microtransactions, more microtransaction potential, I should say, but also just because they didn't feel like fleshing out like an entire game and all its mechanics. They just kind of, you know, they've been doing that too with Battle for Neighborville, because that game just feels recycled as well. I feel like they're just trying to milk this franchise dry, and I don't understand why. They haven't been making games as frequently for it. Why all of a sudden did they decide, well, we need a new game, and it's got to be just made in, like, 2 months? I just don't understand. Maybe EA doesn't either. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I wanted to show more, but there isn't a whole lot to show, and I really don't want to play this. Anyway, I did want to do this by request. Some people wanted to see it, but, you know, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching. I'm out.